day to you. I am Trycie Salaug, your teacher for today. I will be talking about two topics, namely basic angle theorems and determining the hypothesis and conclusion.
Let us have first the basic angle theorem. But before that, let us define first the word theorem. A theorem is a statement which is believed to be true, which when proved can be used to prove other statements or derive other results. In other words, it is an idea accepted or proposed as a demonstrable truth, often as a part of a general theory. Now do not be confused if we'll use the word principle. We shall use the term principle to include important geometric statements such as theorems, postulates, and definitions. We will start with principle number 1. All right angles are congruent. In the figure, we can form two right angles, namely angle A and angle B. Therefore, angle A and angle B are congruent with one another. Now, principle number 2 states that all straight angles are congruent. In the figure, we have two straight angles, angle C and angle D, and these two are congruent. And we can conclude that angle C and angle D are congruent. Let us proceed to principle number 3, which states that complements of the same or of congruent angles are congruent. This is a combination of two principles. The first one is complements of the same angle are congruent. In the figure, we can form two pairs of angles. One is angle A and angle X, and the other is angle B and angle X. Each angle, angle A and angle B, is a complement of angle X. Thus, angle A is congruent to angle B. The second principle under principle number 3 is complements of congruent angles are congruent. We have here in the figure two pairs of complementary angles, angle C and angle X, and angle D and angle Y. It can be seen that angle X and angle Y are congruent. So it follows that angle C is congruent to angle D. The fourth principle is supplements of the same or of congruent angles are congruent. The same as principle number 3, this principle is a combination of two principles. Number 1 is supplements of the same angle are congruent. As shown in the figure, there are two pairs of angles which form a supplementary angle, angle A and angle X, angle B and angle X. Angles A and B each have angle X as their supplement. Thus, angle A is congruent to angle B. The second principle under principle number 4, supplements of congruent angles are congruent. See in the figure that we can form two pairs of supplementary angles from angle C and angle X, and angle D and angle Y. Angle C and D each have their supplements, which are the congruent angles X and Y respectively. So it follows that angles C and D are congruent with one another. Our last principle, vertical angles are congruent. Recalling the definition of vertical angles, they are two non-adjacent angles formed by two intersecting lines. Thus in the figure, this principle follows from principle 4, since angle A and angle B are supplements of the same angle, angle C. Thus, angle A is congruent to angle B. We are done with the first topic. Let us move on to the next one, which is determining the hypothesis and conclusion. Under this, we have two statement forms, the subject-predicate form and if-then form. We have here in the table an example of a subject-predicate form. Its hypothesis is the subject and the conclusion is the predicate. So in the example, a heated metal expands. A heated metal is the hypothesis, and the conclusion is expands. In the if-then form, the hypothesis is its if clause, and the then clause is the conclusion. Therefore, in the given example, if a metal is heated, then it expands. The hypothesis is if a metal is heated, and then it expands is the conclusion. More examples are shown in this table in determining the hypothesis and conclusion in subject-predicate form. I will just leave the reading to you. Just always remember that in this form, the hypothesis is the subject and the predicate is the conclusion. Okay, we have more examples in determining the hypothesis and conclusion in if-then form. In determining each one, just bear in mind that the hypothesis is the if clause and its conclusion is a then clause. Well, I think it will be alright for you to have the reading yourself. Are you done reading? Well, now let us proceed to forming converses. In forming converses, just remember all of these. The converse of a statement is formed by interchanging the hypothesis and conclusion. To form the converse of an if-then statement, interchange the if and then clauses. And in the case of the subject-predicate form, interchange the subject and predicate. Let us have some examples for better understanding. The given is, a quadrilateral is a polygon. The given is in the subject-predicate form. Its subject is quadrilateral, and the predicate is polygon. In forming the converse of the statement, all you have to do is interchange the subject and predicate, and so it becomes a polygon is a quadrilateral. We have now our second example. An obtuse angle has greater measure than a right angle. It is in the subject-predicate form. Just remember how to get its converse. Now its converse is an angle with greater measure than a right angle is an obtuse angle. The third statement, if you are my pupil, then I am your teacher. Example number 3 is in the if-then form. In getting the converse of the if-then form, just interchange the if and then clauses. So the then clause comes first, then follows the if clause. Its converse therefore is, if I am your teacher, then you are my pupil. Here ends my video. I fervently hope you learned something from me. This has been your teacher, Try, and thank you for watching.